Welcome in, everybody. We'll get started in just a moment. I'll let you get settled. You'll probably want a blanket, maybe some furniture nearby, like a small stool or something. We'll probably use that. I always like to have something around, maybe some pillows. And we'll just tune out the rest of the world for a little bit. We'll start with our breath, as always. We'll do some meditation at the beginning and end of practice. So see if you can find a really comfortable seat. It might be helpful for you to lean back against a wall or lie down on the floor. But wherever you are, see if you can find a really tall spine. See if you can kind of pull the head away from the hips. So there's this lengthening action of the spine. And if you're sitting down, kind of take your weight back a little bit. You might feel the abdomen wake up just a little bit, not in order to get tired, but just to find that core strength. And if you're lying down, you can kind of wiggle your shoulders away from your hips if you're on your back. And we'll just start by breathing. You can close your eyes if you would like. I just sort of jumped straight into this, but if you want to look around, notice what's going on in your space, in your environment. You can anchor yourself in the material world, noticing colors, textures. And slowly we can find a deep place of peace. And this may take some time, so be really, really patient with yourself. No rush here. If you need to kind of get some wiggles out as we sit, that's totally normal. Let your arms get nice and heavy. And simply watch the breath flow. Notice the temperature of the room. And use your nose to breathe. We'll do our best to seal our lips throughout class, besides the occasional nice, deep, heavy sigh, which we can actually do right now. So big breath in. Let out a sigh. Relax the jaw. And then close your mouth and breathe through the nose. See if you can make your breath a little bit longer and stronger and even more controlled. So it's a very steady pull in and a very steady push out. It's not this really big suck in and push out. It's a very steady stream. Seeing if we can make it really nice and rhythmic. And now that we've sort of anchored ourselves a little bit more in our bodies and in our space, let's draw our attention towards the mind. So notice where the mind is wandering. Notice what you're thinking of. And we'll try and clear our mind of thoughts. So if it's anything that's not useful for class, if it's that laundry list of things to do, then we'll just run through that list and sweep those things away, brush them out the door. I promise they'll be there after class. And maybe notice birds chirping outside. Maybe you can hear your heart beating. And maybe you can hear the breath. So just listen to the breath. I'm going to count our breath for us for a few rotations. We'll try and keep it at a nice steady 5 count in and out. Big breath in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Big breath out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it up. We'll try and keep our breath moving throughout class. So ceaseless breath, never stopping. And we're going to just bring our palms together and just gently rub the palms together, creating just a little bit of warmth and energy. And then we can bring our palms down to the heart and take a moment to set an intention. Any healing you're working on, any goals you're working towards, whatever needs your thoughts, we'll send them down a positive pathway. If you're lying down, you can slowly start to make your way up to a seated position. And we'll release our hands into our lap. Take just another moment here to settle in to your dedication and to our practice, really cultivating around ourselves a calm and peaceful space. Imagine maybe a large bubble around us. Maybe a glistening, shining, opalescent bubble of peace and tranquility. We'll begin to sort of wake ourselves up from this meditation. It's always so hard to pull myself out of that. And we'll bring our left heel in and the right foot slightly in front. So it's called Siddhasana, easy pose, and it's kind of one in front of the other. It's not crossed like crisscross applesauce. It's one in front of the other. And you want your knees sloping down. So I always recommend sitting up on a blanket or a pillow. And root down through those seat bones, draw the thigh bones down, lift the crown of the head upwards, belly pulls back. And we're just gonna shrug the shoulders and make big circles backwards and forwards a couple times. Going both directions. I'm gonna change directions now. Okay. All right, and then we're going to take both of our hands and reach them really high up. See if you can extend both arms, but keep a nice long neck. So the shoulders drop away from the ears and we reach those fingertips up. Big breath in and out. And then we'll exhale, take your hands to the floor in front of you and then walk your hands forward. We're going to take a little fold here, rooting through the seat bones. Take the palms of your hands up. Sorry, they're not in the camera. Take the palm of your hand up. So it's sort of an offering posture. There's a little bit of surrender here. But the forearms and the palms can face the ceiling. Just take a bow. Your elbows can really support the body, the chest, the upper body, and melt the heart a little bit, melt the head. And then we'll slowly push the floor away from us to come out of that. Really slow. And then find that stacked tall spine once again, chest over the hips, heart over the hips. We'll take our right leg now that's in front and just extend it out to the side. Aim your belly button over the right leg and take a little fold forward. Lead with your heart space. So see if you can take your heart to the knee or your chin to the knee and take a little fold. I'm bracing myself with my hands on the floor next to me, but of course you can always reach for that foot. But right now this feels really awesome. Just to wake up that stretch through the back of the right leg. And then we'll lift our chin up to come out of this. So lift out. And then we'll take our right hand to the left knee and twist and gaze over the left shoulder. Inhale to center. Okay, let's change our easy pose. So send that left foot forward to work the right heel in towards you, and then scoop that left foot a little bit closer. Press the thighs down, lift the crown of the head up, belly button back. And then we'll take our arms up, long neck, reach up, look up. And then we'll exhale, take the hands down and walk forward. Maybe the palms turn upwards as an offering. Let the elbows support your upper back and melt. We're working out and stretching the left hip now. Right hip before, and now the left hip, feeling it heat up just a little bit. A few more breaths, 3 more. Okay, we'll push the floor away to come out of this. Stack the heart over the hips. And then we'll take that left foot and extend it out. Aim your belly button over the left leg and lead with the heart as you fold. You might need help from your arms for support. Our tendency is to go, but we want to avoid that. We want to not drop the chin or the head to the knee or drop the chin. We really want to pull and lengthen the spine. You can kind of activate that left leg by pressing the heel down into the floor and pulling the thigh bone into that hip socket. To come out of this, we'll lift that chin, look up, come on, and lift up. And then we'll twist towards the right knee, left hand to right knee, gaze over the right shoulder. And inhale to center. Okay, we'll take easy pose one more time, or you can sit crisscrossed applesauce. Maybe crisscross applesauce the weird way, the way you normally don't crisscross. And we're going to interlace our fingers and press the palms away from you towards the floor. So we're stretching the forearms. And then we can lift the palms up and maybe gaze upwards and just get a nice full stretch through the back of the arms and the shoulders. And pull the low ribs back so we're not collapsing in the low back. Belly pulls back. And then release your arms down to the side. Awesome. All right, let us take a child's pose. So I like to have my knees on something soft for child's pose. Toes together, knees apart. And then the head should really be resting on something. So if your head cannot reach the floor, you can take your hands underneath the forehead, your forearms underneath the forehead, building yourself a pillow, or maybe even using a pillow. And we'll take one of the most wonderful postures in yoga, child's pose. And continue to let the breath flow. Do not forget that. We'll stay for maybe 5 or 7 more breaths. Several breaths here. And we'll take ourselves into tabletop next. So palms open up really wide, thumbs really open. And then we'll lift those hips up a little bit and curl the toes underneath. So we'll start with the toes curled under in tabletop today. And bring the inner elbow and try and rotate it forward. And the tendency here is to collapse in the mid back area. So see if you can lift the belly up, the mid back up, and that kind of draws the tailbone long and some of the crown of your head long. So we're looking for a really nice long spine, as always. All right, and then we're gonna hover our knees up off the floor for just 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3, take it down. Of course, you can hold that longer if you're looking to kind of ramp things up a little bit, but that's usually not the decision I like to make when I'm practicing. So we'll stay in table. Draw the chin all the way up, look up. We can drop the belly now for cow pose. Inner elbow rotates forward. And then exhale, drop the chin, lift the belly. Now we're in cat. Really press the floor away from you. And then come back to a long spine. So lifted belly, long neck. And then we'll hover our knees up off the floor for 3 more breaths. 1, 2, 3. Okay, lift up for down dog. Lift those hips up nice and high and then draw the heels towards the floor. Really big and beautiful downward facing dog. Enjoy the deep, powerful stretch through the back of the legs. Maybe bend and alternate the knees, pedaling the feet, as they say. Okay, and then let's take an awesome child's pose because that was a lot of work. We can have the knees together this time, and we can take our hands towards the feet to give our arms a break. And we'll take a really luxurious child's pose. Let the breath flow. Catch up with the present moment. Catch up with your breath. Catch up with your body. And catch up with your mind. We'll stay here for 5 or 7 more breaths, several more. And we'll come back to tabletop. Nice open fingers. You may need to take those knees so that they're hip width apart, and we'll curl the toes under again. Nice and strong, long spine. Okay, extend the left heel up and away, hover the foot. Exhale, push that heel away. I like to flex my foot as I do this. And then inhale big. Exhale, hug the knee in 1 time. And then back to tabletop. All right, we'll do that on the other leg. Push the heel away from you. Let it hover. I like to flex my foot so you're really pushing the heel away. Big inhale. And then exhale, hug the knee in towards the chin. And back to tabletop. Nice. We'll take a child's pose. Whichever version you like. Knees apart, knees together, arms forward, arms back. Several more breaths. And then we're going to do that same thing in tabletop, or we'll do that same thing in down dog. So you do have an option. Down dog, it's going to be slightly more challenging. And tabletop, it will be a little bit more accessible. So what we just did. So we'll extend the leg back and then hug it in, and just once on each leg. But we'll rest in child's pose for 3 more breaths. Okay, so yogi's choice, tabletop or downward facing dog, depending on what your body needs today, what it's asking for. So tune in, listen in to what you need. We all need something different. Lift that belly button up, and we'll take the left heel and send it away from you. So square hips, push the heel away. Big inhale. Exhale, hug the knee in. And then take it back to tabletop or down dog. Okay, other leg. Push that right heel away from you. Big inhale. Exhale, hug the knee in. And back to down dog or tabletop, whichever one you're opting for. One more big breath here. And then back to child's pose, your favorite version. Give the arms a break. Wonderful job. Keep up the awesome work. Keep that breath flowing. You're doing awesomely, amazingly. Okay, let's come back to tabletop. We'll all do tabletop, and we'll thread the needle to stretch these shoulders out. It's gonna feel amazing. We'll start with the left arm, scoop that belly up, reach that left arm up nice and high. We kind of spiral up, and then exhale, take your left hand, reach it underneath the right armpit, and then drop the head and left arm down to the floor. You can take your fingertips to the floor and reach the heart upwards, the right shoulder lifts. And it's just a beautiful stretch on that left shoulder blade, upper back, even the neck a little bit. And we'll stay for 3 more breaths before we spiral up. Stamp the right hand down and spiral the left arm up. Big inhale. Take that left hand down. Other side, right arm inhales, we lift. Exhale, we spiral and reach underneath you. Drop the shoulder and the head. Your right arm can really press down into the floor. The left fingertips press down. The left shoulder crawls up towards the ceiling. And we stretch out that right shoulder. Three more breaths. And then we stamp the left hand down, reach the right arm up, spiral up. And back to tabletop. Great. Let's do 3 good cat-cows. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin. Exhale, drop the chin, lift the belly. 1, 2, 3. Let out a nice exhale out the mouth. Great. All right, let's take ourselves into downward facing dog again. Another down dog. Lift those hips up and back. Press the heart towards the feet. Maybe pedal the feet if that's still feeling good today. And then we're going to bend both of our knees. Hopefully this alleviates pressure off of our wrists. And see if you can draw the belly to the thighs, to the top of the thighs. So there's kind of a sloping in the upper back. Okay, and then just take a regular down dog, straighten those knees, and pedal the feet. And then walk forward to the front of your mat. Take a few steps forward, feet hip width apart, knees bent. Inhale, halfway lift. So we lift our heart, the belly sucks up and in, and we lengthen our spine by pressing our hands into the thigh bones. So you can kind of try and push your shoulders further away from your hips. Exhale, forward fold. Let that neck get heavy last. Let the arms be heavy. And let's enjoy this beautiful forward fold. Shake the head, yes and no. Take some cleansing, deep breaths here. Let the arms hang out like gorilla arms, back of the wrist to the floor, or maybe you grab opposite elbows. We'll take 3 more breaths. Okay, to come out of this, we are going to bend our knees pretty deeply. So kind of squat down and then lift your heart and lift your arms for a chair pose. Lift that belly button up and back. And then we'll reach up, look up, upward salute, straighten the legs. Exhale the hands through to prayer, steady standing. I'm going to adjust my camera. So we're just in mountain pose. We're basically just standing upright, or they call it mountain pose. The palms of our hands face forward. And we just catch this verticality. We adjust, we let the blood flow, we let the breath flow. We root down through all 4 corners of our feet. And that belly button is always drawing back, tailbone down. Shoulders up and back and down the back. Long neck. A few more breaths. Exhale. Awesome. It's amazing how hard you could work doing the simplest of things in yoga. Okay, so we're going to have our feet hip width apart. Scratch that. Sorry. We're going to take our feet a little bit wider than hip width. So you're kind of making a big A, about 2 feet apart. And then we're going to take a halfway fold. So drop your heart halfway, lift the belly. And then we're going to take our right hand to the left leg and our left hand to the right leg. And then we're going to fold all the way down. See how far you can go down the legs with your hands. And then we're just going to hang out in this crossed arm, grabbing the legs. Let the head melt a little bit. And just breathe. Letting go of stress and anxiety and tension. Letting it melt. I'm right up against the wall here and I'm leaning against the wall. That feels pretty good. So you can always do this with support. Take a look at your arms. Notice which arm is on top and which arm is underneath. We'll stay for a few more breaths. Okay, and then we'll lift the chin up, release our arms, and come back to that halfway lift, and then lift all the way back up. So when we do this with our arms crossed, it kind of creates like a little cradle for your head when you're folding forward, so you can relax into that. And we'll do that with our arms crossed the other way. So try and remember what you did, but we'll take that fold halfway down first. So fold halfway down, lift that belly button up and in, and then take your cross the other way and slide down. And you can kind of walk the arms down and maybe let the head kind of hang out in that little homemade cradle. Big breaths, let it go, let the tension and stress just melt away. Okay, we'll stay for 3 more breaths. And we'll release and lift back up to that halfway lift. Press the thighs away from you, lift the belly button up, and then we'll come all the way back up. Awesome. Take a moment here to just kind of let ourselves adjust. Maybe the toes kind of go slightly out a little bit. Palms open. And take a few breaths in mountain. Slight bend in those knees. Okay, we'll come back now to the front of our mat. I'm going to change the camera again. We're going to go back to downward facing dog. But first, we'll upward salute. So inhale, reach the arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Hug the body in. Take a moment here. Let the head be really heavy. Inhale, halfway lift. Lift that belly up. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. You can take as many steps as you need to get there. We'll take downward facing dog. This will be the last one. So maybe there's a sigh of relief out there in the crowd. Lift that belly button up. Press the shoulders towards the feet. Inhale, high plank pose. So this we can hold or simply drop to the floor if you've had enough. Exhale, chaturanga, hit the deck. The elbows stay really nice and close to the body. Press the feet down, press the hands down, and lift the heart upwards, cobra pose. So we get a really awesome stretch through the belly when we do this. Really press the feet down though. And then we'll take our awesome child's pose. The hips lift up and settle down and back. Take a child's pose, your favorite version, knees apart, knees together, arms forward or back, whatever floats your boat. And watch the breath flow. We get to start being super lazy now, so start shifting into a slower gear, start slowing things down, start letting go of effort and trying. And we're going to settle into a restorative segment of class, keeping things nice and easy. We'll stay in this child's pose for several more breaths. Three more breaths. Nice and deep and full and long. And we'll very slowly come out of this by rolling up and sitting on the heels. So we roll on up, let the head be nice and heavy, and sit down on your heels for hero's pose. And we'll slowly get there. Try and create a nice open heart, so space between shoulder to shoulder. The shoulders kind of pull back a little bit and the belly pulls back. And we lift the crown of the head. So really lift that sternum upwards. And then we'll just do some awesome head rotations, really working out kinks in the neck. Rotate in one direction first. And then the other direction. Okay, and then we'll find a nice neutral chin somewhere in the middle there. And we'll make our way onto our back. Awesome job. The hard work is over. You can give yourself a pat on the back. And you may want a pillow nearby under your head or a blanket. And we'll just come all the way down to the floor. So sliding all the way down, being really careful and gentle with ourselves. You can start with your feet on the floor, knees up, if that feels better on your low back. And we really want to tuck those hips underneath us. So it's like if your hips were an ice cream scoop, you're going to scoop that tail up underneath you and place it back down. And you'll feel that that's going to lengthen our spine. And when you're ready, we can extend the legs out so that they're both straight on the floor. You can kind of let the ankles flap open. We're not in Shavasana just yet.
Okay, so we're gonna take the right foot and just hug it up so that the sole of the right foot is on the inside of the left thigh. And we are what I like to call reclining tree pose or half reclining bound angle, however you want to look at it. But you're going to get a really nice opening through the right hip flexor right here where your hip creases and even the right top of the thigh, the quad. We can have our arms out like a T. You can take them up overhead, elbows bent, like field goal posts, like a football field goal. So whatever feels good. You can even take your left hand to your heart, your right hand to your belly. One of my favorite combinations. And we'll just hang out in this really comforting, loving pose. Watch the belly rise and fall. Watch the breath flow in and out. And come back to your place of peace. Come back to your center. Ground yourself on the floor here. Grow roots wherever your body is touching the floor. Let your roots grow deep into the earth. And we'll stay for several more breaths, 5 or 7. To come out of this, we'll pick our right knee up and place the right foot on the floor. And just take a breath. And then we'll take that right leg long and bring the left heel up and in. It's going to find the inside of the right thigh. And we rest in reclining tree pose once again on the other leg. Maybe making micro adjustments so that we feel most comfortable. Maybe changing our arms if maybe we need something different happening in the upper body. And we'll settle in. Maybe noticing a difference on the other side of the body. Just observing, noticing, and abiding in that. Noticing if there's anywhere in the body where you can surrender a little bit more. Noticing if there's tension somewhere in particular. And then using your breath to really melt those areas like you're trying to de-thaw a stick of butter with your breath. Let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Whatever you're still holding on to. Okay, several more breaths, 5 or 7. Okay, we'll slowly pick the left knee up and the left foot comes to the floor. Stay here for a moment. And it is time for Shavasana now, which is our complete surrender pose. The palms open up and the arms splay out. The legs splay out. The ankles roll open and we're kind of like a starfish on the beach. And it's a complete surrender and a complete letting go. No more effort, no more trying. And let's reimagine that bubble around us. A nice, colorful bubble, glistening, opalescent. And let that hold in all of the hard work that you put towards cultivating a space around you and inside of you of peace and calmness. Finding that center, that balanced center. Riding that middle path. No more fluctuating between extremes, but just settling into the center. Relax your fingers and your toes. Relax your hands and your feet. Relax your arms, your shoulders. Relax your legs and your hips. Relax your belly and your back. Relax your chest, your rib cage. Relax your neck and your throat. Let your head become nice and heavy. Relax the skin of your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your scalp, your teeth, and your tongue. Relax your forehead and your cheeks. Relax your lips and your nose. Relax your eyes and your eyebrows. Relax your eyelids. Let yourself become dense and heavy where you're touching the floor, growing roots. And then let yourself become light and soft and fluffy and weightless where you're not touching the floor. Take a moment to remember what it's like to have tension and stress and anxiety in the body and the mind, just for a moment. And now let a sense of peace and calmness wash over you. Like a gentle, warm rainfall. And enjoy for a few moments longer. Begin to breathe deeply and introduce some movement into the body. Maybe opening and closing the fingers, rolling the ankles a little. Maybe licking the lips. And taking the feet to the floor, we'll roll to the right side of our body, resting our head on our arm like a pillow. Taking a moment here in the sleeping position to really enjoy these last few moments of peace and comfort. And we'll come to a seated position, really nice and slow. We'll find a blanket to sit on so we can finish class in optimal alignment with the spine. And we'll just take another moment to observe and notice how we feel. Coming back to being upright. Noticing if you feel a little bit more settled in this position on the floor. Maybe it feels a little bit more comfortable than it did when we first started practice. Maybe our breath flows a little bit more freely. Maybe we feel a little bit taller, a little bit stronger. Bringing our hands to prayer at heart center. We'll close class with an Om. You can join me or just listen in. Big inhale. Bowing our heads in gratitude and honor. Namaste. Have a wonderful week. It's so good to see all of you as always. I'm here every Tuesday